The Justice Department charging 4 current and former Louisville, Kentucky police officers involved in the deadly apartment raid that killed Breonna Taylor. Those officers are Joshua James, Kelly Goodlett, Kyle Meany, and Brett Hankinson, all charged with federal civil rights violations. And you may remember Hankinson was previously acquitted of charges that he endangered 3 of Taylor's neighbors by firing bullets into their home. Attorney General Merrick Garland says the officers sought a warrant for Taylor's apartment, knowing there was probably a lack of probable cause.
Specifically, we allege that Ms. Taylor's Fourth Amendment rights were violated when defendants Joshua James, Kyle Meany, and Kelly Goodlett sought a warrant to search Ms. Taylor's home, knowing that the officers lacked probable cause for the search. Breonna Taylor should be alive today. The Justice Department is committed to defending and protecting the civil rights of every person in this country. That was this department's founding purpose, and it remains our urgent mission.
For more, we bring in ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky. So, Aaron, we just heard from Attorney General Merrick Garland saying Breonna Taylor should still be alive today. What is next for the Department of Justice? What's next for this case?
Well, now it has to go through the prosecution phase, and this is where it becomes a little bit more challenging, because for all the rhetoric about following the law and all of that, there is a question of now proving that Breonna Taylor's civil rights were violated, as the charges indicate. That may not be hard to do, given the circumstances of the case, but Attorney General Merrick Garland expressed confidence that these officers needed to be held account. One of them has agreed to plead guilty. The other 3, for now at least, are going to move forward with their prosecution. And I think a challenge for the Justice Department here, Deirdre, is that 3 of those officers had not been charged by the state. The one who was acquitted, as you mentioned. But Attorney General Garland said that sometimes there are crimes that the federal government alleges that need to be vindicated, and when they're not vindicated by the state, that's when the Justice Department needs to step in.
So, Aaron, what do the civil charges mean for the involved officers? What does this really change in their lives?
Well, it carries the possibility of prison time over this, and I think it really does lay bare what prosecutors have believed all along, and you heard Garland express with such matter-of-fact tone that Breonna Taylor should be alive, that this raid was improperly pretensed. You heard Garland say that there was no probable cause to go into her apartment in the first place. And according to the criminal charges that were laid out today, the officers kind of gathered in the basement of the building and concocted some story when it all went bad. And for that, Garland said that violated Breonna Taylor's civil rights. And in the case of Hankinson, he was the one who opened fire in an unconstitutional use of force, the indictment said, that also violated the civil rights of not only Breonna Taylor, but also her neighbors.
Okay, so speaking of him, I mean, he was dismissed, right, from the department in 2020, was acquitted by a jury of state charges of endangerment earlier this year in Louisville. How do these federal charges differ from the state charges?
Well, it's clearly a different things that the government is now going to have to prove, and in some ways they don't necessarily need to prove every single fact of the case. They need to prove how his discharge of the firearm ended up violating the civil rights, because again it was improperly predicated, and it could get a little bit confusing for a jury perhaps, but clearly the Justice Department thinks it's worth it, because he fired 10 times through the window and sliding glass door into another apartment, putting other lives in danger after the officer had been fired upon by Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, thinking that there were intruders inside the apartment. And the way that this all went down was of such fault, Deirdre, that the Attorney General said, you know, all these officers need to be held to account.
Indeed, indeed. And we know Breonna Taylor's family and attorney also spoke today. We have part of the comments here.
Because of Breonna Taylor, we can say this is a day that black women sought equal justice in the United States of America.
That's right.
She's looking down from heaven today. But the first thing I will say is thank God that Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron did not get the last word in regards to justice for Breonna Taylor.
So, Aaron, what is their reaction to the DOJ's investigation, and what is the family seeking now?
Well, I think you heard in the comments from the attorney Ben Crump that the family believed the state declining to charge 3 of the officers was a miscarriage of justice. And in a statement, the family said that this now, the federal indictment, is more in line with the justice that the family says it deserves over Breonna Taylor's death. There was a real concern that the absence of charges against the officers was just going to let the case go. That's clearly not the case. And they say that one of the officers already agreeing to plead guilty should serve as a model to the others, that they can no longer hide behind what the family calls lies.
As always, great to have your insight on this important story.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.